Hi everyone, it's Danny here, and I thought since it's such terrible weather outside and I have the afternoon free, I would go through floor transfers for those of you who are maybe new to the transfer and just learning how to do these things. So this is probably one of the most difficult transfers, especially if you have limited or no core function like myself, but I've seen people with higher injuries do this well, and I think it's a crucial skill. If you do fall out of your chair, you need to find a way to get back into it without relying on others, because it's not always the case that there will be someone there. So, first part is to be on the floor. And there's a couple of different ways to do this, but the technique I use is one I saw someone else do and tried it and found it worked quite well for me. So I'm just going to pop myself onto the floor, and I've got a cushion to just make sure I don't hurt my bony arse. Not the most graceful. And perhaps I can use a different angle to show exactly what's going on here. But essentially, I found myself on the floor, and what I'm going to do is bring my knees as close to me as possible. And it helps if you're wearing shoes for a bit of traction on the floor. And difficult to keep your balance doing this, so it takes a couple of goes, I think. You want to be more or less at right angles to your chair, and the chair needs to be secure. I guess that goes without saying, but if you're on slippery ground or your wheels and tires don't have good traction, then it might be worth just readjusting and moving yourself. One other kind of hack or just tip to mention is that if the distance seems too high between the two, you can always take your cushion off and sit on it. And that is kind of twofold in that it brings your bum higher and also lowers the actual distance that you have to get to. The only problem then is that you've got to put your cushion back beneath you somehow. But if you're nearby another surface, you can transfer onto it and then move things and then back on, or you can get someone to help you. So we're not going to do that today. So we're in this position with our kind of knees tucked up to our chest. Our feet are just in front of the foot plate of the chair, and it's at right angles. My problem here is that my knees flop out if I don't hold them in. Obviously I need both my hands to lift, so I use my chin to kind of keep that knee in. And you've got to kind of move yourself forward so you're kind of hovering above your feet, so your bum is above your feet. So I'm putting my left hand in a fist just behind my back and then inching forwards. And it's not going to be the smoothest thing in the world, but it will hopefully work. So now I'm in a kind of in-between stage where my bum's off the ground, just above my shoes and ankles, and I'm just kind of suspending myself. So it's not too hard because most of my weight is kind of through my legs. But the real, I guess, difficult part of the transfer is the next bit, which is getting your bum on the chair. And it just takes practice and a bit of strength. So a big push with your right arm and lifting as high as possible with your left. And if you keep your chin and head down, it should help the rest of your body go upwards in the air. Again, it might take a couple of goes, that's okay, but we'll see how we manage just now. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go, just about. And then the legs are back on as well. And there you have it. Maybe that looked more straightforward than it seems, but that's probably the product of months of work putting into that. When I was first in the unit, there's no way I could do that. And I think regular strength training and just practicing that is what made it possible in the end. A final point to note is that if you fall off near another flat surface, then the easiest thing by far is to use the frame of your chair and the surface to lift yourself up, because it's far better to have two roughly equal in height surfaces as opposed to your frame and the floor, because you can only get so much stretch from your left arm on the floor. Another final thing, I've seen some people do a kind of tricep dip, and I guess if that works for you, fine, but I always find that my bum kind of scrapes against the foot plate and I can never kind of get things high enough to be comfortable. That's actually mechanically fairly straightforward, and it's pretty dependable to get back in. So I hope you found that helpful. I'll try and show some different views when I've got someone else to film, but there you have it.